Hi, today we're gonna talk about dinosaurs. Or if you want to be more specific, Dino Smasher's Fury Dinosaurs. This distinction is important because that structure deck and later support would be what put dinosaurs on the map. What was once a convoluted type with no definitive archetype outside of maybe Dino Rabbit and Jirax being the most relevant, please Konami giving you Jirax, dinosaurs are still somewhat convoluted as these cards have no direct correlation outside of being dinosaur type, having big attack values, and destroying their own cards with card effects. Despite no longer being able to achieve that glory it once had due to recent hits, I still believe dinosaurs to be an excellent entry point for players, especially now with the 2021 tints being available. So today, let's wrestle some ancient reptilians, and let's get into Yu-Gi-Oh! With dinosaurs. So the main stars of the Dino Smasher's Fury Dinosaurs are Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, Soul-Eating Oviraptor, and Miscellaneous Saurus. For the sake of communication, I'll refer to them as the community knows them as UCT, OV, and MISC. UCT is your boss monster and game ender with 3500 attack and 3200 defense. He cannot be normal summon or set, but can be special summoned from the hand by banishing 2 dinosaurs from your graveyard. He can also be summoned by other methods we'll get into later, and while on the field, he can attack every monster your opponent has once, and if attacking monsters in defense position, he burns for 1000 and sends the monster to the graveyard. And to facilitate this, during either main phase, UCT, on a quick effect, can destroy a monster on the field or hand to flip all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. This is your one of many win conditions, but it's the best you have in budget go second versions. OV is your searcher and enabler. He is everything you want and does everything you need. On a normal or special summon, you can search any dinosaur or dump one, and at the same turn, destroy a dinosaur to reborn one from the grave. And MISC being the best card in the entire deck, discarding it as a quick effect grants complete effect immunity to all your dinosaurs during the main phase, and while in the graveyard, can banish itself and other dinosaurs to summon a dino from your deck. So by now you get a vague idea of what Dino Smasher's dinos do. They destroy other dinos to banish them from the grave to summon bigger dinos. Other pieces that help the strategy and centralize its main gimmick are Baby Therosaurus, aka Baby, along with Petit Pterodon, Lost World, and Double Evolution Pill. Both babies float into other dinosaurs on destruction by a card effect, Baby floating into level 4 or lower dinos, while not being once per turn, and Petite floating into level 4 or higher, but the summoned dino can't attack and is a hard once per turn. Lost World is a field spell that debuffs anything that isn't a dino, summons a token to your opponent's side of the field, and if that token were to be destroyed, you can destroy a dinosaur from your deck, thus enabling the baby dinos from the deck, as it doesn't matter where they were destroyed, so long as they are destroyed and hit the graveyard, they will float. And Double Evolution Pill is the thing that helps you summon UCT directly from your deck, by banishing a dino and a non-dino from your hand or grave. Now that you understand that, let's look at our pill enablers. Overtext Quoteless, Animadoran Archosaur, and Giant Rex. Quoteless and Arco have other effects that never come up because they are mainly used as pill searchers. Quoteless searches pill when sent to the grave by a card effect, a la Ovi or Foolish Burial, while Arco on summon can destroy a different dinosaur monster in hand or field to add pill to your hand. And by being level 1, it can be summoned right from the deck with a single MISC. Additional pieces include Fossil Dig as your Rhoda, Jirac Aeolo, whose only purpose is to be a tuner that is summonable from MISC, and Giant Rex, who summons himself by being banished, making him perfect pill and UCT fodder, and allowing you access to extra deck plays. Speaking of which, by having a good amount of level 4s, Evolzar, Lagia, and Dolka are your go-to XZs to end on if going first. Other outside cards that fit the theme are Scrap Raptor and the rest of the Scrap package. Scraptor is great because it fits both the Dino and Scrap theme by destroying your own stuff and extending your combos. Not to mention that being a level 4 tuner allows you access to strong rank 4s, Halkifibrax, or strong Synchros. Now, onto the builds. Now this build is one I recommend to extreme beginners or people on a tight budget. It is a bit above 100 USD, but if you're someone who doesn't care much about matches and wants to play exclusively casual, you can cut the side deck and be right under $100, with the current prices at the time of making this video. Now the main goal is to go second, and with basic hand traps such as Veiler, Ghost Ogre, and the Crow, you can make use of them while putting non-dinos in your grave. Along with strong one-ofs, you also have triple Dark Hole. Now this being a pure go second build, Dark Hole serves the purpose of both being an easy board clear that can also bait a negation, as well as destroying your baby dinos on the field if you were to open poorly. Though a bit risky with bad hands, you could instead main or side Dogoran, the Mad Flame Kaiju, as he is searchable by Ovi, and being a kaiju, it can out everything and anything if you're staring that on a nasty field. I say risky because while a great card, with the low amount of good starters and being very susceptible to disruption with only one misc, you run the risk of being stopped and not being able to clear that 3000 attack beater. This is all personal theory, but you can take this in whichever way you want. The extra deck is also very standard, Shambara being a good choice for pushing game thanks to Aeolo being your miss target, and also Pentastax makes your Tyranno hit even harder if you position UCT and the token you've given your opponent with Lost World. Trishula is there mainly as a flex, or if you want to specifically get rid of card in both your opponent's field and grave. If you're in a position where you have 2 level 4s and an Aeolo, you're better off making a rank 4 and a link 1, though I can see it being a good way to clear a Dragoon or DPE if you've already baited their effects. And shoutouts to Boral Sword because it and UCT make a clean 9500 plus damage. Last thing to mention is the Cyber's Link package. With either Aeolo or a baby in the worst situations, you can make a Link Karibo or Salamangreat Almiraj to link them off for Secure Gardna, which in the process immediately gives you a Dino and a non-Dino. The main game plan is to force out negations and clear the field, dump a Dino and Quoteless as soon as possible to get Pill, and push for damage. You may not quite get instant 8000 right off the bat, but it is easier the more monsters your opponent has. And if not, you still have an Ovi and a Giant Rex to overlay, or a big Dino to be your follow-up for turn 3. Moving right along with the second build. Now this is a jump in price and quality, with more impactful cards, replacing Quoteless with Archosaur, and other good cards being more focused and streamlined to go second, while also being meta relevant. Now I should mention that dinos being self-destruction and self-banish focused, they do mesh well with other archetypes, particularly ones that can get non-dinos in the graveyard easily, such as Shaddolls, or benefit from being banished, like Thunder Dragons. However, most of these fall on the gimmicky side, and while they can be fun options, it is the kind of thing that works well in theory but bad in practice. Especially with Shaddolls working better off with other engines or by being pure, and Thunder Dragons not being worth it anymore without Colossus. True Kings and Dinos go like bread and butter, but with both of their best cards being limited or banned, it puts a cap on their consistency and power. Though a personal favorite that works well enough would be Dogmatica, as an easy way to get non-dinos in the grave, and is a fairly consistent and impactful engine. And lastly, leaving off with the final build. Now, this build is for those who have too much money to spare, in which case, what are you doing here? Give your money to a charity, you rich asshole, or if you already have most of these cards within the collection you've amassed over the years. Otherwise, just play this version online. The deck recipes, as always, will be in the description. Now, the main pointers here are high impact cards. This build in particular uses Scrapter and the Scrap Engine, which actually gives you a strong turn 1 board with just 2 cards. Which is something Dinos could do before, but not to this crazy level. You're likely to end with a 2-3 Negata-Palooza, a Borreload Savage with 2 negations, UCT or Pancratops, and a rank 4 of your choice. However, the key piece in this engine, Scrap Chimera, is a 10-year-old card that Konami has forgotten to reprint and is now $50. Christ, at least Access Code has the possibility of being in Brothers or El Dorado, but with Chimera, who fucking knows at this point? And if neither of them are in either, I will throw a baby fit right on camera. The engine, while strong, is very breaky as you do run 2 Garnets, so if you don't care you can swap those 4 cards for Gammas and a driver, so you only have to deal with 1 Garnet. Similarly, you can forego access code for a Boral Sword if all you care is stupid amounts of damage over removal. Other cards of note are Dark Ruler No More in the main or side. Now if you're still a rich asshole, you can replace these with droplets, but I tend to favor towards DRNM as it doesn't cost additional cards and $100. Mystic Mine also serves the same purpose as a card to lock out all nasty boards or force a negation, and doesn't hurt you that much if your opponent overextends. Prosperity is a key choice as dinosaurs have a lot of 2-card combos and do have some generic extra deck cards you can give up. The half damage doesn't matter. If you're going first and have a 78 disruption board, who cares? Also, you can still push for 8,000 damage even with half damage. A somewhat controversial choice is Crossout Designator. My personal philosophy being that most hand traps don't affect you that much if Misk resolves. That is, if Misk gets to resolve. Even with 3 Misk, getting that single Misk ashed in the grave without having called sucks ass and basically ended your turn with most hands. Now with it at 1, it hurts even more, so Crossout is there just to guarantee that Misk gets to resolve. Technically, Gamma can serve the same purpose of stopping Ash or something that stops Misk, but unless you have Ovi and Fossil Dig, having to rely more on Ovi to get Misk means Gamma won't be live as often. I tend to build my decks in preparation for the worst case scenario that is the most likely to happen. However, this is a recipe, so you can tweak it to your preference. And so, that's it for Dinosaurs. I've always wanted to do this episode. I wanted to do it earlier, but after Misk getting hit back to 1, I felt less encouraged to keep playing the deck. But I still love it to death, and it still reigns supreme as the quintessential go second OTK style deck. And I still see it as a perfect way to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye. By the way, if you're wondering where Colonel Jackoff went, he OD'd and died. Yeah, it took him long enough.